How did you like the tango dance video? I love the metaphor of leadership and followership involved in tango dancing. Thank you, Anahit. Do you think we can run organizations like a tango dance, where the leader-follower relationships, influences, and decisions are made mutually, harmoniously, and interchangeably? What's the possibility of a world in which we live together without depicting one person as a leader and another as a follower? Is it possible to overcome the old paradigm of a static leadership and instead, in what Steck describes as the new paradigm, define our roles and functions while dancing? In this new paradigm, the moment we stop the dance, we also stop the functions of leading and following. If we could accomplish this, no one would be able to impose a social identity of leader or follower on us. In other words, what if we get rid of a static concept of leadership and treat each other with respect as fellow human beings, regardless of our roles, functions, and even positions? Can you imagine an organization where leadership and followership roles are minimized and that people lead and follow according to their expertise and preferences? I realize that not everyone wants to lead and that each organization has to have leadership positions to function. Nevertheless, what if the structure of the organization allows its members to lead and follow when necessary and shift their roles when needed? In this scenario, the president of a company may lead in one situation and follow in another, in such a way that members of the organization actually participate in shared vision and decision making. I invite you to add your voice to this debate after you read Steck's chapter on a new leadership followership paradigm and my article on leadership and followership, a case of leader-follower trade model. I'm very much looking forward to reading your responses in a discussion board. Another critical aspect of leadership and followership lies in the topic of influence. Leadership programs have been teaching how to influence people and make leaders successful, effective, and productive for a long time. But the mutual influence between leaders and followers has been missing from leadership studies for just as long. If leadership and followership is relationship, then I would assume that influence would be perceived as mutual, much like Isaac Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. That influence may not be equal, but the opposite reaction is evident in all relationships. So, how can one ignore the fact that followers influence their leaders too? Therefore, I think you would agree it is very important to study influence between leaders and followers in the context of relationship and from the perspective of mutual influence. You will find this concept on display when you read Orwell's essay on Shooting an Elephant, where the observant followers heavily influence the decision-making leader. So the question arises, who is influencing who, and who is leading who? Furthermore, in the real world, you may also find yourself in quite challenging situations where a person in a leadership role asks you to do something that you think is unethical. Because of this, an ethical dilemma with an organizational context will be introduced to you in your ethical task assignment. I'm anxious to read your responses online. As you wrestle with topics such as leader-follower exchange and shifting roles in organizational contexts, mutual influence, and ethical dilemmas, think about Christ, how he resisted toxic leaders of his time. Perhaps his behavior will reveal something to you which you have never considered before. Maybe it will even change the way you see these kinds of conflicts in the light of a new understanding regarding leadership and followership roles. At this moment, I'm going to invite my wife to join me again. Until next time, have a great day and enjoy the dance. Anna, teach me to follow through the tango dance.